This episode, Chip and Johanna Gaines' Magnolia Network cancels the show Homework. In this episode, the Handyman Pros have a discussion about Chip and Johanna Gaines' Magnolia Network recently canceling and then reinstating the show Homework. This is our synopsis and interpretation of the lessons to be learned. Welcome to the Handyman Pros radio show. Home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros radio show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This edition's entitled, Chip and Johanna Gaines' Magnolia Network cancels the show Homework. To help me explain, Johnny, my cheerful co-host and old buddy, is here. He's here. He told me.
I'm here. I'm here, baby.
Tell me a story from this week, Johnny.
Oh, man. So this past week, working on one of my favorite homes here, the 6,000 square foot home that's always in need of something. They got a great big arch window in the front of the house, and somebody was up on a ladder and just looking at it and said, "Hey, I think there's some rot up here."
Oh, jeez, here we go.
And so they're like, "Can you fix this?" And on the windowsill. Well, I looked on the windowsill, and the whole thing, was just it was like termites holding hands. That
termites holding hands.
I just had to take the whole windowsill, cut the whole thing out, and replace it. Oh. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was just the paint over nothing. So life goes on, and got all that fixed. But boy, what a mess.
That's in the fishing terms, Johnny. You've got a honey hole there. That's like
that was quite a. It's been quite an experience, and there's more things to talk about here, from just that one place that I think is of value to everybody out there. But I'll hold off for that for right now.
It's folks, just to give you some perspective. This is something John talks about just about every other day. He's on some project at this particular house. Anyway, with that, Johnny and I were reading, folks, we don't know if you've seen in the news, but we picked an article out of, it is today.com. It is dated January 7th, 2022 by Carrie Breen, and it says, this is the opening line, families featured on Magnolia home renovation show Homework are alleging that their remodels turned into nightmares, sharing experiences. So we read the article, and we'll put a link out to the article itself. But there's some great takeaways for both the homeowner and the handyman here from this article, and from this, what our synopsis is of this article.
Let me just so once again, just to reiterate, Larry, the Magnolia Home Renovation Show is part of this network, right?
Yeah, it's part of the Magnolia Network. Chip and Johanna Gaines have the Magnolia Network, right, which is an HGTV competitor, basically. We'll call it that. The show is called Homework, and it features two people, Andy and Meredith Candace, and they go in and do, it's kind of this, I don't want to say the same old, but they go in and do home renovations for people, and it's essentially, I'm going to call it formulaic to a degree anyway, but it's a show about going in and remodeling older homes, which is something that, you and I do we don't necessarily remodel, but we go in and do repairs on older homes every single day. These are full remodels. So anyway, when I read this article, what I saw were a couple of different things, and this is my synopsis of the article. And folks, again, we'll post this article out there. This is just our opinions. But basically, there was a dispute between two of the families and the Candaces over the jobs that they did. One of the families did not move out. They had long construction times. They had cost overruns. Does any of this sound familiar if you've done a major renovation? Well, in my never to be humbled opinion, in my world, this is so common it's not even funny, and that was part of the reason why I think we wanted to do this show. And Johnny, give me your synopsis.
Well, exactly. So Candace and Andrew Meredith. This is this is based out of Utah, and what you said is correct. They had got into this doing a big renovation on one of their own properties, and they got pulled into this show. So they start to help other people. And, part of what we talk about here is trying to avoid what this article is talking about.
Yeah, what it's describing.
Yeah, so we thought this would be, just kind of another finer point on this, and maybe a lot of you folks out there that are listening to this have run across this article, and perhaps not, but there's some lessons here to be learned.
Yeah, and one thing we do want to state, so again, this is our opinions, and the other thing is the show Homework has been reinstated by the Magnolia Network after an investigation. We didn't include an article on that, but I do know for a fact that it's been reinstated, and I think the reasons that it's reinstated are going to be part of what we actually go and talk about here in this show. So, John, do we want to just start? You want to start?
Yeah,
Let's just start.
Well, we just did an episode a couple of weeks ago about luring contractors and things like that, because if everybody's been busy, good, you want to get the best help you possibly can, so on and so forth. But along with any of these big projects comes, risks, and both sides need to understand what they're getting into and be realistic about it.
Yeah,
that's kind of my quick synopsis.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And I think that's, we've all been there. We all think that, let me just preface, by saying you watch these shows, and I get sucked into it sometimes as well, until I really was doing a lot of handyman work, it seems really easy. It seems quick. It seems like there's not a whole lot to it, but there's a whole lot to it, okay? And that is just being in sync with contractors, and contractors need to be in sync with the job as well as the customer, okay? Everybody has to have a realistic approach to this.
Right. And in this case, so one of the stories is that the one of the families decided to stay in the home while they did a major renovation. I believe it was a full kitchen, and it was John and I, we do enough of this, and I have enough friends, and I've done major renovations on bathrooms and things in my own home. Mm-hmm. And one of my pieces of advice always is move out of the house. Just don't. I mean, we have two friends that just redid their kitchen. And they were without a kitchen for about 12 to 14 weeks. Now, the contractor in that particular case originally told them, it's only going to be 8 weeks. And so they had a major overrun on time, largely due to factors that are outside of the contractor's control. But at the same time, your house is a mess. And in this case, in this show's case, this one family decided to live in the basement while they did the renovation upstairs. And as John and I have said over and over and over again, there's two sides to this. We're always trying to show both sides of the story, but there is that risk that John talked about. There's expectation. There's a lack of, in this case, there was a lack of clear communications. And so, we know that when you do any of these projects, right, John, does everything go perfectly all the time?
Yeah. So that's part of the, taking a reality break in these things, right?
Right.
And no, there are mistakes, and everything does not go perfectly when you watch some of these shows where everything seems to go perfectly, but don't forget, they also edit those shows.
They edit those shows a lot.
So they're, Larry, you were talking about that they didn't move out, and they were strongly suggesting that they move out.
Yes.
And they did not.
Yes.
So I think part of it is, on the contractor side that, you got to kind of hold your ground on some of that and say, look, we can't, maybe you guys aren't our customers.
Yeah.
Aren't our prospects, because, this thing, as we talk about a lot, the stress level on any of these large projects is incredible. And I will tell you, just from my experience, it's happened. I've done it twice, is when I've had my hardwood floors redone. Okay. I just absolutely know I am not living in this house while that's going on.
Right.
Okay. I am moving out, and I moved out for, like 3 or 4 days or whatever it was.
Right.
So, just on a kitchen remodel is a whole nother animal on that. And you just have to kind of understand that. So, The point here being is that you really need to have a reality check on what's happening, because it doesn't help anybody with this stress level, especially the guys that are working in the house and just doing what they need to do. It's a mess. It really turns out to be a mess in all kinds of ways.
In so many, both figuratively and literally, right? I mean, it's literally a mess, because there's demolition. I mean, even in this article, they mentioned something about they didn't expect the demolition to be what it was. I'm like, it's demolition, folks, the end customer. Now, at the same time, to your point, John, the Candaces in this case were not insistent.
It's Meredith. I just want to set that straight. Yeah. Their last name is Meredith.
No, it's Andy and Meredith Candace. It's Candace. And I'll even confirm that right now.
No,
it's Meredith. Oh, it's Andy. It's Andy and Candace Meredith. Okay, sorry. I've never watched.
Just wanted to be accurate here.
Okay, all right. But I'm putting blame in this case on both parties, right? Yeah. So because I think they're both. First off, if I'm running the TV show, you're moving out, or we're not doing the show in your house. That's me if I'm doing it, because I know, John and I, we've been around this long enough. We know better than to do that. And I'm not saying that they didn't know better. They just weren't firm. They needed to be firm. And our tip to you folks as you're out there is, if you're doing a major reno, if you're the homeowner, really, really, really think about if you're thinking about living in the home. Understand, we've said this a million times, right, John? Somebody's there from basically 8 in the morning till 5 o'clock every single day. They are construction guys, and it's noisy, it's loud, it's dusty, it is. It's all those processes of construction, and nobody twinkles their nose and this stuff's done.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Days and weeks.
Yeah, so. I would just add this, Larry, is that a lot of folks don't. How should I put this? Don't understand what a mess it is. Okay, yeah. I can't overstate that, because it really is something where if you're not used to a big project where everything's coming down to the ground and getting rebuilt again, it's a shock.
It is. It really is.
Okay, it's a shock in many ways, and it plays on your emotions. And you're better off not witnessing it sometimes. Okay, honestly.
And I agree.
And I'm serious. On a demo, you just don't want to see it. You're better off not seeing it, because it adds too much stress. Because the first thing you're going to be thinking about is, oh my God, everything's gone. How are they going to redo that? And you're not in that business. Right. These guys are like, oh, this is nothing.
Yeah,
just give us a month, and this thing's going to be great. But in the meantime, you're building up all kinds of stress. So, you really have to be aware of that.
Yeah, and I want to add one thing. Folks, you all know, if you've listened to this for a while, I have rental properties. And in the past 2 years, John, how many houses have I done? I think I've done 3 in the past 2 years.
I think it's about right. Yeah.
So even in those homes where no one's living in it, right, and these homes are far enough away from my house that I don't spend I spend a week at a time at that location working on those homes. And I actually bought a camper because I know I don't want to live in the demolition zone / construction zone. So even in my own case, I have my temporary camper that I live in when I do my own home renovations. I don't live in that mess. I cannot it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Drywall dust gets everywhere. And if you're taking it down, it gets everywhere. Yeah. It's just a mess. Anyway, that's one of the complaints that they had here. Then they talked about long construction times and cost overruns. Welcome to 2022, right, John? I mean, is there a surprise there?
No. And this just goes back again. You just need to be out of the way.
Yes.
Okay. And it's just going to reduce costs. I'm going to say it one last time. Is stress. It's going to keep you thinking clear. These folks felt like they were hostages in their own homes and things like that. But back to your point of cost overruns, we are in a weird.
It's weird. Yeah.
Cycle right now. Yep. And what these guys are going to ask to do these days is a little different than they used to. The just-in-time type of inventory is not going to happen much anymore for these things. So they're going to ask you to do a lot of things up front and also clean out your garage so they can use it to stage materials.
Absolutely.
And that's only to help you, avoid these cost overruns and long build times. Waiting for appliances, waiting for wood, whatever it might be.
Whatever. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So, that's why we bring all this up constantly.
Yeah, and so too, folks, for those of you that are a homeowner, understand this is the world we're living in right now. For you as a contractor, right? If you're a contractor, handyman, whatever, stop promising the world. Stop it. Just stop it. You're going to save stress on yourself. You're going to save stress on your customers, and you want a great experience, right? You want the great experience. Just be honest with people. Say, I just don't know. I mean, we have an idea, but we're probably going to run long because we tend to be over-optimistic. I say that to people, John. I actually say that to people.
And that's human nature,
right?
You want to have a great experience, but that doesn't mean it's that you still can't have a great experience. We talk about being in constant communication. I'm going to go back to having some kind of a contract from the homeowner back to the contractor.
Yep.
That says, I'm going to have this type of communication at these intervals. You will clean up at this point and all those kind of things, and that keeps everybody on track. It keeps the stress level down. Everybody knows what they're doing, and when it's going to happen, and what the stages of this are. If you break it into little pieces. Okay, and I've said this before. It's like, when I rebuilt cars or whatever it might be, you look at it and you say, man, I got to take this whole thing apart, and then but if you look at it in little chunks, you get through these bigger projects.
Right.
If you don't look at it that way, it's overwhelming.
It is.
And you don't have the expectations of moving one step at a time, and once you see that happen, then you're going to be a whole lot better. So if you have those communications back with the contractors or whoever, you're going to be much better off. And like I said, always going to be risk on these bigger projects, and errors happen. Mistakes happen, right?
They do. Johnny,
so,
I think it's time we talk about the unique build contest. Speaking of big projects.
Interesting projects.
Yeah. This isn't just so, folks. Several weeks ago, we built a pizza oven on a trailer and for a customer, and it drives around on a lot. And we decided, in our eminent wisdom, because we drink a lot basically, and we don't really, but anyway, but it sounds good. We decided we needed to run a contest and give away some unique Handyman Pros Radio Show swag for our unique build contest. And so we decided that we wanted to have y'all send in our things that are of your unique builds. If you've done something really kind of unique, aka a pizza oven on a trailer, or some kind of cool zip line, or I don't know. We've heard some really interesting things coming out. Send it to us. That's at handymanprosradioshow@gmail.com. You can put it on our Facebook page. That's at Handyman Pros. All of that sort of thing. Johnny, you have anything to add on our unique build contest?
No, I'm just excited to see things come through. If you hit our Facebook page, questions at handymanprosradioshow.com would be great.
Yep.
All of that. We'd just love to be able to post this back out and share it with everybody, because there are some great let's call it engineering projects that are going out there that we'd love to see. It just adds a lot of value to the whole community.
Yep.
You're going to be doing things that you can really share with others, and how you overcame some obstacles, how you thought this through.
Yep.
All of that goes along with it. So
yeah. So, and that's the cool stuff, right? So, it's kind of, that's cool, right? Like, wow, that's cool. I want to do that, sometime, or something like that. So anyway, yeah, with that, John, you know what? Some spaceship landed in your backyard last night.
I took it apart and he moved out.
So now, yeah, he moved out and he took the propulsion motion. So now you got a piece of junk. Do you have to get that? Do you have to go to the state to get the title on that spaceship? I want to know. These are inquiring questions that I want to know. I want to know. All right, folks. With that, we are out. We will talk to you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.